So when Mick came to TNA first, did he talk about just how upset he was with Vince?
Yeah, he talked about it, and after you reminded me, I remember the story he told. But there's a second part to the story. Vince was world famous for really, I mean, just berating and abusing the commentators. He'd be screaming in their ear while they were talking, and he would throw a lot of them off. So if they're not putting the proper emphasis or didn't say this or didn't say, God damn it, what the? I mean, I've stood by the gorilla position and heard him just scream at him. But he never screamed at Lawler. Never. He never screamed at Lawler. He took it all out on Michael Cole. Because I asked Lawler one day, I said, did he ever scream at you or does he ever? He said, no, he didn't scream at me.
What about Bradshaw?
I don't think he didn't scream at Bradshaw. But with Mick, I don't know if Mick was going in business for himself or whatever, but Mick, and I will applaud him for this, he wasn't in the mood to be berated. After all he'd done in wrestling, and he goes out there to be a commentator, which would, I don't think he added that much to him, but you can only listen to Mick Foley for so long, I think. But he didn't add to it like Lawler did, or even Bradshaw. They were color guys, and they would say, you know, that'd be smart ass. But see, he didn't want to be a smart ass. He was a baby face. He was a good guy. And when he would describe something, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there, but he thought it was insulting, and it was. For Vince to be screaming at him like hell he just started the business yesterday. After all, I would have said the same thing. If I was Mick Foley, and I would think, after all the money I drew here, and you're going to get on me for that, you can kiss my butt and get up and leave. And that's exactly what he did. So when TNA got him, that was a big deal for them to get him. But we put him there and they didn't really have an idea of what to put him in, tell you the truth. I don't even remember him. Did he do commentary there too?
I don't think he did commentary because Taz had come over by that time. So I think it was Taz on commentary. And Mick just seemed to be, because I was dipping in and out at that time. I remember him wrestling quite a few matches on pay-per-view. I hate to say this, far past his prime, but I'm sure he'll, say the same thing as well. And he wasn't really in shape apart from maybe one of like the lockdown pay-per-views where he really put the effort in and everything.
Well, that's what happens when a guy that's drawn big money tries to stay in wrestling when his best days are behind him, and he's actually putting his health at risk too, because his body cannot keep up with what he used to do. I saw a movie one time about a boxer, and he had finished up. He couldn't box anymore, and he ends up doing kids' birthday parties and stuff like that, just embarrassing stuff. I think a lot of wrestlers go through that because back in those days, they didn't even have the independence that you could pick up every now and then with a good payday. They didn't even have that, because that was another process that was evolving, the independent wrestling scene, and it finally found its footing, and they kind of built that up. But I don't think Mick said a lot about it, but I would go into the room and he'd be talking about Vince and laughing and, people wanting to know. But he didn't give Vince any slack. He really, and sometimes even when he was working there, I would see tweets by him, which were contrary to what the company was believing in. I don't know what it was, but he was anti-WWF for a long time. Or E2.